Welcome to my final Pittsburgh Steelers NFL mock draft. This mock draft will be 4.0 for me, and my final one before the draft gets underway for 2024. In this mock draft, it will take into account every player I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers would select if that player is available at each selection, but also take into account the needs of the team and the best player available rankings. Before I get into the mock draft, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates and coverage through the NFL draft. Also like the video. Now let's get into the mock draft. So, with the Pittsburgh Steelers' first selection in the first round, pick number 20, they select offensive tackle Amarius Mims. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers get their right tackle of the future. Omar Khan has said it that he believes Broderick Jones will be returning back to left tackle, meaning that there's a gap open at the right tackle position. And now they get a 6'8", 340-pound monster in Amarius Mims, right tackle out of Georgia, to cover that spot. His arm length is 36 1/8 inches, his hand size is 11 1/4 inches, and his accomplishments throughout his career is that he's a 5-star recruit out of high school. And Amarius Mims, he checks the boxes for height, weight, arm length, and potential to be a franchise offensive tackle. His strengths are his athletic ability, his outstanding functional strength, his very high upside to be a superstar right tackle in this league, an all-pro, Pro Bowl type of player, and also his lateral agility and his movement skills for his size as well. The only thing that concerns me for this selection is his limited playing experience, stopping feet during his blocks, his two-hand punching technique, but just overall his injury concern because he is a huge guy, meaning that his knees and his legs might have some problems. I'll get more into this selection at the very end of this video, but that's the pick number 20 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now, moving over to the Pittsburgh Steelers' next selection in this year's NFL Draft, Round 2, pick number 51, the Pittsburgh Steelers select center Zach Frazier. So, Zach Frazier, hopefully he could be the center of the future, the franchise center of this team moving forward. He's from West Virginia, that's where he went to college. He stands at 6'2.5 inches. He weighs 313 pounds. His arm length being 32 1/4 inches, hand size 10 7/8. His accomplishments throughout his career has been that he's been AP second team All Big 12 in 2022, academic All Big 12 in 2022 as well, and out of high school, he was only a 3-star recruit, but Zach Frazier is a plug-and-play starting center who would excel in a gap scheme as he offers strength and leverage to move defenders in the run game because of his wrestling background. And because of that, his strengths, just looking at the film, is his grip strength, his pad level, and his anger. And as you could tell, all those things come from his wrestling background. However, his concerns on the football field is his mobility, his lateral mobility, and just his length at the center position and his size altogether. But other than that, if we're talking about just film, Zach Frazier fits what the Steelers need at the center position, and I believe he has a chance to be there at that spot that the Pittsburgh Steelers are selecting, and that he would be the selection if he does fall to them in the second round. If he doesn't fall, I believe the Steelers would then go to the next center available, but other than that, the Steelers really need a center. They don't have anyone on the roster who's a pure center right now. They cut their last year starting center in Mason Cole, and they need a hole to fill, and Zach Frazier fills it. Like Amarius Mims, I'll get more into this in depth with this film at the end of this video. But this is a selection at pick number 51 in the second round for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, moving over, round 3, Pittsburgh Steelers select at number 84, Ricky Pearsall. I was really going back and forth with him and Malachi Corley, but I believe Ricky Pearsall, just from looking at the tape, it was better. So looking at Ricky Pearsall, what he would bring to the Steelers Well, he stands at 6'1", he weighs 189 pounds, arm length 30 and 7/8 inches, hand size 9 and 1/4 inches. His accomplishments throughout his career has been that he's been SEC first year academic honor roll through the 2022-2023 season, and also in 2022 he's a Pac-12 All-Conference honorable mention. Ricky Pearsall is an alignment versatile receiver that has IQ and instincts. He can play inside, he can play outside, and that allows him to consistently win and be a reliable receiver option for his quarterback. So his strengths that he would bring to the football field and the Steelers team would be that he's filling in a massive hole. The Steelers really only have George Pickens on the roster at wide receiver. They have Kelvin Austin also. They signed Van Jefferson. They signed Quez Watkins, but they have a need at wide receiver. So him coming in would fill in right away and probably be a starter on this team. And his strengths are his high IQ, his catch in traffic, like I said, his versatile alignment, inside or outside. However, his only concerns is his press man ability to beat it, and also sometimes his separation vertically on his routes. But he would come in and fill a massive hole after Deontay Johnson was traded away this offseason to the Carolina Panthers. Kelvin Austin is still a question mark in terms of what he could do in this league. Van Jefferson is really a third, fourth wide receiver, and you don't want him being the second receiver. And Quez Watkins has always been like the fifth receiver on each team that he's been on, the Eagles. So you're looking at Ricky Pearsall, and he comes in, and he would fit in right away and make a huge impact, hopefully, right out the gate. But he is a selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick number 84 in round 3. I'll get more into his film as well at the end of this video, but that's a pick. Now, moving over to the final pick I'm going to be doing for this video, round 3, number 98. This is a compensatory pick from Philadelphia in which they traded Kenny Pickett for. So, Kenny Pickett, they got them Max Melton, and that is a selection. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers selection at pick number 98 in the 3rd round. He stands at 5'11". He's a cornerback out of Rutgers. He weighs 187 pounds. His arm length 32 and 1/8 inches. His hand size 9 and 1/8 inches. And his accomplishments throughout his career is he's been honorable mention All Big Ten in 2023 and honorable mention All Big Ten 2022. I was really going back and forth between him and Mike Sainristil. But I believe just looking at the film, Max Melton has better film in terms of his instincts on the football field. And that's what led me to select him over Mike Sainristil. But if Mike Sainristil is still there and Max Melton isn't, that would have been my selection. So Max Melton, he's a physical cornerback and he's a fearless defender who will stick his face in the fire versus a run, but he's also scheme versatile and his strength is in coverage. So he could do both. He could come up, make the tackle, but also really good with his instincts in coverage, getting interceptions. His strengths on the football field is his scheme and coverage versatility, his competitiveness, run support, and his experienced coverage defender in total. However, his concerns are sometimes he's technically sloppy and too aggressive on the football field, but you'd rather someone be too aggressive than have to hype them up and make them be more aggressive. So that could be a benefit and that could be a concern. But sometimes his concern as well is locating the ball down the field. But as we can see in this film, he gets a lot of interceptions. So even though that is a concern sometimes, he still makes plays on the football field and gets plays on the football a lot of times as well. He's also sometimes segmented in transitions and kind of slow in his transitions on the football field. So those are the concerns for him. But other than that, he slots in as a really good slot cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I believe he could be more than that. I believe if the Steelers needed him to play, he could be like a safety type of player and kind of a hybrid type of player for the Steelers and play more than one position. He also has some scheme versatile in terms of outside cornerback. Just looking at the film, he probably would slot in best at slot, but he can play the outside if needed in some type of scheme. So Max Melton at pick number 98, in which the Pittsburgh Steelers got for Kenny Pickett. That is the pick and the final pick of this mock draft from me. The first 4 selections, just to go over it again, I'm going to go through each selection. Round 1, pick number 20, Amarius Mims. Round 2, pick number 51, Zach Frazier. Round 3, pick number 84, Ricky Pearsall. Pick number 98 in round 3 as well, Max Melton. So those are the selections. And now let me just go over the film and go over each selection in terms of what they could bring on the football field. So, looking at Amarius Mims, what he brings to the football field is just his ability to tower over a player. Because of his size, he is a big player and he shadows any player that he's lined up across. Any edge defender, even though edge defenders are huge in this league, he towers over everyone at 6'8", 340. So his film analysis is this. He is alert and he's aware from the snap. Mims' vision, it helps him identify and kind of pass off twists and stunts very well, and he's very good in blitz pickup as well. So that is a positive check mark in his book, and he is rarely caught off guard by like any delayed blitzes and free runners. He possesses really good feet and quickness to pop out of his stance in pass protection. That's usually sometimes a struggle for bigger guys at the offensive tackle position. Sometimes they are really good at power, but they aren't good at moving their feet and sliding back. But he's really good at moving his feet and not allowing the edge defenders to go past him. So he kind of meets the edge defenders right at the apex of the rush to quickly take out the wind and air of their set. He's an impressive mover for his size and stature in which he should be, and his lateral agility is outstanding. He can mirror pass rushers with little wasted, segmented movements because of how big he is, because of how strong he is. He's really skilled in kind of closing both inside and outside pass rush lanes. And just overall, someone who you would look at as a franchise offense tackle of the future. The only concern with him is staying healthy. He's either going to be a franchise guy or he'll be a bust because of injuries. But there's really no in between, I believe, with him. He's a very high upside, and that's why he was a selection. Now, looking at Zach Wilson and looking at his film analysis as well, his film breakdown, he's from West Virginia, and he's been a stalwart along the interior of the Mountaineers' offense line since the moment he stepped foot on campus. He started as a true freshman at left guard, but he transitioned to center for sophomore and junior seasons, and he's very densely built. He's a really good center of gravity because of how short he is, because of his stature and size. Like I said, he's like 6'2", 0.5 inches, and he's a former wrestler. So it really shows in his game because of his excellent run blocking ability and to be able to mirror off and hold his own and just keep his pads low. He knows how to gain leverage on defenders, just like his wrestling background, and he has excellent hand use to win inside the chest plate. So he has a great grip strength and kind of punch to kind of hold his defender off. And he can move people as well. Once Frazier is connected to defenders, the rep is usually over. He displays very good power at the point of attack and can generate movement off of the ball. Frazier is just an outstanding athlete in general. So the only concern may be getting down the field in terms of his feet movement, like Amarius Mims. Amarius Mims was very good, very quick. The only thing with Frazier is he may not be that center who could be a pulling center. But other than that, he's very good at everything else. But as we've seen, centers, usually they develop that. That's not something that's not teachable. Being able to move and being able to get them in the right position is always teachable. And we've seen players in the past who are projected to not be able to keep up in the league. Like just say Kevin Dotson, he wasn't projected to be a good pulling guard. But once he went to the Rams, he started being able to do that. So we've seen players in the past develop that. And that's not something that should be ashamed of Zach Frazier in terms of not selecting him. That's something that could be worked on and something that he get later on in his career as he develops. But that's Zach Frazier's film analysis. Moving over to Ricky Pearsall, looking at his film, Throughout his tenure in the University of Florida, he established himself as the go-to option for his offense. So it's always nice getting a wide receiver out of the draft that was the go-to option because he knows how to be relied upon. He was always the quarterback's number one option. So he's been used in multiple alignments. That means he knows how to play inside and out. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a need for inside and out, so that could really help them in multiple alignments. Meaning that right off the snap of the ball, Purcell has multiple releases that can make him win with either tempo, power, speed off of that line of scrimmage. He knows how to get into his route and win his route. Purcell does a really good job of kind of mixing in the tempo in which he keeps the defenders from knowing what route he will be running, whether that's going to be a deep route, a comeback route, outside, inside. He really does a good job and has high IQ to not let the defenders know what his next move is. So he's a really QB friendly guy who's always uncovered on film for the quarterback. It gives an easy option for the quarterback to throw him the ball because he always seems to get open. And that's something the Steelers need. They have a big, huge contested catch wide receiver in George Pickens, who has learned how to get open more. But Ricky Purcell is that, and he can get open. Looking at his film, he makes some great one-handed catches. He makes some great of them. And also contested catches as well. But he also knows how to get open. He may not be the deep ball threat in terms of throw it up there, 50-50, and he'll come down with it like George Pickens is. But in the middle area of the field, he works very well. So that's why the Steelers select him, and that's his film analysis. The only thing concerned for him is maybe deep ball. That's it. But looking at Max Melton now, the cornerback who I had them selecting, looking at his film breakdown, he is one of the hottest motors in the class, meaning that he never gives up and gives full effort that NFL coaches are going to be raving about and are going to love and appreciate with him. Melton is a fearless player and competitor. He's a confident defender who will be an asset in run support. Even though he's 5'11", may not be the biggest guy, he comes up and lays you out and is not afraid to get his head dirty in the running game. But he also does a nice job of squeezing and leveraging the ball from the perimeter as a force defender as well. He's a willing and capable tackler in run support, but his coverage skills is also what sets him apart and his best asset because he is very versatile and fluid in what he does. He not only is a zone coverage player, but he's also really good in man as well. So he could play both man and zone. And when you could get a slot cornerback who could do that, could read the field, make plays, get the interceptions that he's made in his career, dropping back, that's why I said I believe he's a really good playmaker on the ball. Even though sometimes he doesn't locate it well, he still makes plays. And he's able to read and jump throws that maybe other people won't see. And that's why I believe he could play multiple alignments, whether that's free safety, slot cornerback, outside cornerback. I believe he could do a lot in the Steelers defense, and hopefully he is still there when the Steelers select at pick number 98. That's why I picked Melton over Sainristil. I believe Sainristil is more strictly just a slot cornerback. He's even smaller than Melton, but if Sainristil is there, I really like what he could bring to the team as well. But Max Melton for me is just the better cornerback at this spot. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is the reason why they selected each of these players. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on each of these selections. First round, second round, and third round. All 4 selections I did. Do you like the picks? Do you not like the picks? And just let me know your mock draft down in the comments below. The draft is coming up very soon. So this is my final mock draft. And hopefully I get each selection right. I also did 3 prior mock drafts in which there were different selection in terms of what I did first. I kind of went through the different possibilities of selecting a cornerback in round 1 and what that draft would look like. Or drafting a center in round 1, what that would look like. Drafting an offense tackle in round 1, what that would look like. I went through all the different options, so I'd advise if you want to go check that out, go ahead, they're also on the channel. But with that being said, I'm covering everything through the draft. Every player the Steelers select, even after the draft, the undrafted free agents that we sign, I'm covering it and making a video on each player, giving you all the background information you need to know about them and what they could bring to this team and just their past background life. I made videos on all the free agents that we got, so if you want to go check those out, they are on the channel. But until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.